What is happening? Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. Hope everybody had a fantastic holiday break. We are happy to have you guys here for the next 3 hours. Lucas didn't show up to work today. I don't know where he is, but Robert Walsh is back there making it go. You can jump in at any point. 615-737-1045 is the number. 615-737-1045. So I was trying to figure out how the hell to do this today, because 5 straight losses for a football team that just looks lifeless. Not exactly the sexiest way to welcome you all back from Christmas vacation. Hope you had a lovely time with friends and family. Your football team sucks. What are you going to do? So how do you kind of reset and discuss this thing within terms that are productive? Because that's the only thing that you're looking for right now. I got nothing for you after a 5th straight loss. I got nothing for you after losing to a team that had 1 win on the season and literally beat you with a dual quarterback situation. What the hell is that? So they come into this game on Thursday Night Football, short week. This is their last day of work. Then they'll have tomorrow off, and they'll be on the field against Dallas. Who is going to play in this game? I have absolutely no idea, and apparently neither do they. Because between the injury situation, we've now gotten to 82 players used throughout the course of the season, a league-leading 82 players who have dressed for this football team in 2022 after setting the record last year, the NFL record last year, with 91. They lose this game to the Texans, and this against the Cowboys, there's not a lot of juice. It has zero playoff implications for either of them. And the situation becomes, okay, they don't need the win, but don't they really need to win at some point? Whether we're talking about playoff positioning or winning the division after blowing a 4-game lead, what was a 4-game lead, that happened quickly, didn't it? How can they take this one off, quote unquote, get guys ready for Jacksonville and expect them to just roll it out like nothing went wrong? There's zero justification for kind of taking this one easy, the way that it seems like they might. Because I don't know if you saw the injury report yesterday, but there's 11 starters on there. And Derrick Henry with an actual injury, not just the foot thing that they use when they want to give him a day off on Wednesday. I have no idea whether Derrick's going to play on Thursday Night Football, and I can't see a lot of good reasons for him to play. But when we went into the post-game locker room, and after seeing 5 of these in a row, after this team started 7-3, and we're just kind of having the conversation amongst ourselves, Titans media, like, all right, what can they do? Again, how can they fix it? How can they stop the bleeding? Literal bleeding, because they've got guys who are nowhere to be found. Ryan Tannehill's done for the time being. Ben Jones is done for the year. Nate Davis done for the year. I mean, we can go on through the list. Bud Dupree is in and out of the lineup again. And instead of spending my December 27th of week 17 talking about, okay, well, they need to cut this guy in the offseason, the next general manager, whomever that dude ends up being, because they haven't won a game since they fired John. Whomever that dude ends up being, he's going to have to make decisions about quarterback. Like, there's going to be plenty. We literally have months after the football season is over to go through all the different ways that they need to, if not rebuild, very, very much retool. But in the meantime, they have to win this game on Thursday. They have to win this game. Because walking around the locker room, walking around the post-game stuff, like they have zero juice. And so to put anything on them for like a week 18 win and in and say, okay, everybody sit, everybody take it easy. I don't even know that they could do that with that many guys because they literally don't have players left. For them to just kind of cruise against Dallas and think that they're going to walk into Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence playing like an actual number 1 overall pick, no. Get the bleep out of here. We were sitting in Mike Vrabel's press conference yesterday, and, you know, there's moments where Mike will be over us. It usually happens about halfway through training camp when he's speaking to us every day. He talks too much. Not Not because he talks too much, but because he's contractually required to talk too much. And at no point yesterday did I feel like he had any legitimate answers to the questions that we were asking him, whether it be about the pass protection issues that they continue to have, whether it be about the disparity between their third down defense, which is really good, and then when teams go for it on fourth down, everything just goes to hell, and they can't get the defense off the field. And the one thing that's been playing to their favor consistently throughout the course of the year with, some missing parts and pieces is that they've been able to hold defensively. Now teams are just, kind of running over them, wearing them down because the offense can't get anything done. The Malik Willis situation, which looks like it's going to be the Titans' future for the foreseeable future, at least the immediate future, at least. I don't know what I can do to sell you on the idea that that guy is going to become an NFL like a legitimate NFL starting quarterback, because what I saw from him again on Saturday afternoon, I mean, there was nothing terribly inspiring about that. And at some point, somebody has to produce. Somebody has to produce for this team. Derrick Henry, the fumbles, I have no idea what to make of this. This dude is not somebody who has ever been a risk for ball security, and now he's coughing up. This is 3 straight games with a fumble. They're not good enough to overcome the amount of mistakes that they make. And the fact that they can't find a way to correct nearly any of the mistakes, whether it's operational penalties, whether it's ball security, whether it's leading the league in 3 and outs, they can't do anything at this point to kind of get themselves off the mat. And that's not how I've ever felt about a Titans team. That's not how I've ever felt about Mike Vrabel or Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard or Jeffrey Simmons. The names, the names that you most associate with greatness and this organization, they're just looking around at us like, I don't know what I can tell you guys at this point. It's the same thing. And God help me if I hear the word consistency again. Consistency in what? Because the only thing that they're consistently doing right now is losing. That and turnovers. 615-737-1045 is how you can jump in on the conversation. We'll be talking about this game between the Texans. Obviously, it's been a few days removed, but there's still a lot of stuff that we need to work through so they can try and get something right and figure out how to win a football game on Thursday night. We'd be happy to take your phone calls throughout the course of the day. We're with you until 1 o'clock. You're going to hear from Mike Vrabel. You're going to hear from Kevin Byard. You're going to hear from Derrick Henry. I'm Buck Reising. It's 104.5 The Zone. When it comes to insurance, you want a company that's going to have your back. That's what Country Financial can do for you. Whether you're trying to save some money on your car insurance, whether you're trying to have your home protected if something would happen to it, natural disaster. This is something that Middle Tennesseans are very, very familiar with, whether it's the flooding or the tornado situations that we've had in the past couple of years. You want to make sure that your home is protected and that you can afford to rebuild at your home's full value. That's what Country Financial is going to offer you, the opportunity to do so. So visit them online at countryfinancial.com.
The Buck Reising Show is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Go to springhillac.com.
Most certainly we are. Welcome back to the show. 615-737-1045. We got some tweets yesterday about the fact that we took Monday off. I don't know. Robert, did you get Monday off? Good morning, by the way. I haven't talked to you once.
I did get Monday off. What the hell's going on, man?
Well, I think people came in ready with their torches and pitchforks yesterday, full of holiday cheer, piss, and vinegar.
And there wasn't nobody here but old Jackson. Y'all were probably calling up here like, hey, will somebody pick up the phone? I'm ready to complain to somebody.
Somebody.
The manager, please.
Anybody.
I also thought it was funny that you bashed two quarterback systems in the first segment when that's what you do with Lucas every day. This show is a two quarterback system.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. You weren't ready for that. You weren't ready for the heat like that, were you? And then I occasionally come off the bench like, what's that? Taysom Hill. I'm Taysom Hill. I can do it all, baby. I can come in, play a little tight end, play a little quarterback, sit on the bench all game. It don't matter to me. I'm getting paid.
All right. Good to know that you're motivated entirely financially and that nothing else about what we're doing on the air here matters.
Correct.
Okay. Very good. 615-737-1045. You're going to hear from Kevin Byard in the postgame locker room here in just a second. Let's start with Dre in Nashville. Good morning, Dre.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, boss.
Yeah, I just want to touch bases. I feel like the Titans' problem is the offense is just too predictable. And then we spend too much time trying to get Derrick Henry started. You know what I'm saying? And it weighs in on the defense because they're trying. But, if we keep going 3 and out, sooner or later, the defense is going to break. And I feel like you really can't fault them for that. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I feel like we really need to open up the playbook a little more and stop trying to feed Henry so much. They keyed in on him, man. They have, if they stop him, only thing they have to do is stop his stride, stop him from getting to that second, third step, and it's over with. It's like his mobility isn't there anymore. It's just a mess, man. It looked like he's a robot out there juking and stuff. It's not the same. It's not as shifty as it used to be. It's not down.
Are you talking about Derrick?
Yeah, I just feel like the way he runs, it's not the same. I mean, it's like it's not loose. I feel like he's more stiffer now.
Well, yeah, because he's getting the holy hell knocked out of him. Thank you for the call. He had a 48-yard touchdown run. I'm not worried about Derrick. Thanks for the call. 615-737-1045. What are you ignoring the music back there? You just throwing out the entire rule book.
What was I supposed to do?
Hit him with the music.
Hey, wait. Oh, you've been hanging out with me too long. I cannot wait to pull you saying, hit him with the music.
That was an odd accent for me to pull out at the time.
Love it.
I don't know what happened there. You don't want me to start doing impressions of your voice.
I do. In fact, I do, because I can take those so out of context. Like, what do you got? Give me your best Bert impression.
What? Let me answer his question, and then I'll give you a Bert impression. Or should I answer it as you? No.
Yes. Oh no, mix them together. You're teasing me today. I don't like it. Naughty.
Maybe we do a show. You do my voice for an entire show, and I do your voice.
Are you guys living good and living well? Is everyone living good and also living well? I'm Buck Reising. This is my show. Anyone else that talks gets sent to the shadows.
You know what? That's right. Back to the shadows. Let me tell you about the Titans offense. Okay. There is I think people continue to search for answers, and that is completely fair. Derrick Henry is not a part of the problem. Let's start there and end there. Okay, as far as Derrick is concerned. There is nothing that Derrick Henry is doing other than fumbling that is detrimental to this team. Now, the fumble thing, that bleep's got to stop. And, a lot of times I'll be a bit dismissive. Maybe a bit is diplomatic. Didn't I say shadows, damn it? I can be dismissive of some of the things that you guys lob my way. I'm trying to be cognizant of that. Me and my therapist talk about it all the time. All right? But the sleeves thing, the fact that he came out after the fumble without the sleeves on as an acknowledgement of, I don't know what else to do, because I started getting tweets about the fact that he's wearing sleeves and the fact that maybe that's affecting his ball security. And I have no idea, no earthly idea whether that's a thing or not. But apparently it's enough for him to think about it because he doesn't know what the answer is. You're going to hear from Derek later on. But at this point, the offensive situation, Derrick Henry is still their greatest source of explosive plays because as long as Malik Willis is playing quarterback, you cannot expect there to be, at least in the foreseeable future, the immediate future, you cannot expect there to be any kind of rhythm and flow to the passing game. You cannot expect him to, I think, operate that thing in a way that's going to get Chig a lot of targets, going to get Traylon a lot of targets. There's just not going to be a lot of passing volume if Malik's on the field. Now, was there more this past week than there have been in previous weeks? Of course, because he is, I do think, making progress, but the progress is not good enough. And I don't know if that progress is going to turn out with him being a starting NFL quarterback or not. All I know is that 14 for 23 or 14 of 23, 99 yards and 2 interceptions is, I mean, you would look at that. If it was any other quarterback, remove the name, and you would say that guy's a practice squad player, not a third-round pick. So Derek, 5.5 yards a carry, 48-yard touchdown run, had 126 yards against the NFL's worst rushing defense. They found ways to get Malik on the move. He was making some plays with his feet. Obviously, he scored a rushing touchdown as well. Traylon Burks had like an end-around carry for 15. And that was one of their biggest plays, the 15-yard end-around of the day. Beyond that, Traylon Burks didn't have a catch. So you get your most important offensive weapon back in Traylon Burks, and you can't get him going in a passing game for a variety of different reasons. You have the Derek situation where I think a lot of people are at the point where they're saying, okay, well, they're focusing too much in on Derrick Henry. They're trying to do too much through Derrick Henry. And on and on and on it goes. When in reality, Derek is the only thing that they're currently doing well in the last, let's say, 3 weeks. But again, the turnovers are a problem. So yeah, they're going to have to take a very, very difficult and thorough look at what it is that they want to be as an offense this season. Because please give the football to Derrick Henry and run the left or run the damn ball, run the damn football. I don't remember what the hats say, whatever. Like that iteration of Titans football appears to be on its deathbed. And the next evolution of this, I think could look, I mean, depending on how the coaching staff feels about whomever the new GM is and how they want to kind of reshape this thing, then I think we are now seeing the need for a drastic change in offensive philosophy. Now, offensive philosophy, no matter who the coordinator is, if they keep Todd Downing beyond this season or if they fire Todd Downing after this season, it's incumbent upon Mike Vrabel to be willing to change his offensive philosophy and approach. Right now, they don't have better options than what they're doing. Moving forward is where you start to get those questions. And we're inching closer and closer by the day to Mike Mularkey, Terry Robisky territory, where it's Mike Mularkey up at the podium after they lose to the Patriots in the divisional round, and he's asked, do you anticipate any changes to your staff this offseason? He says flatly no, and then moves on to a question about the Senior Bowl. And in mid-stride of him talking about the Senior Bowl, all of us in that press conference, in the auditorium, in the Titans practice facility, looked around and said, Mike Mularkey's going to get fired tomorrow. Sure enough, there it was. I'm not saying that's what's on the table for Mike Vrabel, but man, it's tough to find a closer parallel than the one that this franchise went through not that long ago. Let's go to, so wait, I had Dre earlier. Now I've got Trey in
Trey
Nashville.
and Dre.
All right, Trey. Trey is now up next because Dre's already gone. Hey, Trey.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, you was talking about words that Coach was talking about, say all the time. I'm sick of hearing complimentary football. I just want to throw up in my mouth every single time he says it. Like, what is he talking about? Like, we don't even, have, an offense that's, capable of putting up 21 points a game. Okay, so if Derek runs 150 yards with one touchdown and the other team is getting fumble recoveries, interceptions, pick six, we'll never catch up. So I think Coach Vrabel, he needs to change something or move on.
Thanks for the call, Trey.
Okay.
615-737-1045. I mean, well, you know what he's trying to say when he says complimentary football. Play without turnovers on offense, get pressure on the quarterback, and create turnovers on defense, and be not detrimental as far as special teams are concerned. Like the idea of complimentary football, I'm not against Mike actively working for complimentary football, nor should you be. But it's that they're not able to accomplish said complimentary football. Because right when they start to get something right and they get a stop, they get a critical stop on defense, or even so let's take the fumble specifically for Derrick Henry, okay? Because as you look at this, the way that the Texans got the ball in the fourth quarter, it was their 10th drive of the game. All right, so they take over with 13:44 left in the fourth. They've got the football because Derek fumbles. And they start on their own 42. So they then go 10 plays, 49 yards. They end in a field goal. The next drive, they're able to get a touchdown. But the defense does well on what they call sudden change to respond, to stop them from getting 7, instead making them settle for 3. And at that point, you still have an opportunity to keep this thing in control. And then immediately after that situation occurs in the fourth quarter, after Houston bleeds 6:19 off the clock, because that's the big thing. They took about half the quarter to get down the field, to get the 49 yards and get the field goal. That part was the biggest problem, because this is not a team that can score quickly at this point. So they get the ball back at 7:25 left, and they immediately go 3 and out. They again lead the league in 3 and outs. So, it's fine if you're one of the best teams in the NFL when you get to the red zone. Problem is, you get to the red zone as few times as any team in football at this point. You don't continue to sustain drives. You don't have many possessions to work with. So when you cite to me that the Titans are statistically, over the past 5 years under Mike Vrabel, a top 5 red zone offense, well, that's fine. But how much time and how often, how much time does it take you to get to the red zone, and how often are you actually getting there for you to be able to cash in on, theoretically, one of the things that you're best at? The answer is not enough. 615-737-1045. Carlos is calling us from Texas up next. Hey, Carlos.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, we were 7-3, one of the best top 3, top 4 best teams during the season, and in the blink of the eye, we're the worst team. What happened to us? I'm saying, okay, we're playing for the division now. Even though if we get our players defensive and offensively, are we gonna be that type of team to beat Jaguars, or the 7 wins were just a fluke? Even though, if we bring back And all these healthy players are not.
All right, Carlos, so the rules of the show are that you get 60 seconds to make your point, and then Robert starts playing the music. The new wrinkle to that is apparently me. I didn't even finish the word music. Hit him with the music. What happened? Music? What happened there? Thank you for the call, Carlos.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate it, man. Just make sure you don't get...
Hit him with the music. All right. I already hate you. We're 33 minutes into the show, and I'm already pissed.
I can only do so much to lighten your mood, man. I'm trying to put a smile on that Bucky face.
Well, we're gonna have to do because we've got winners and losers today because it's a Tuesday.
I love it.
Yes.
It's my favorite day of the week.
I just don't think that's true. I think that we will have to do daily positivity at some point today.
Oh, you're joking.
I think we need to.
You're joking me.
Buddy, I've had to think about this, and I'm going to address this question, like what happened, okay? Because it's a fair question, and it's not Carlos's job to follow this thing every day and to document these things as it is our job to do. But I will say that I need an attitude adjustment for how I go through the rest of the season, because it's entirely possible that they lose out, and I can't walk in here every Monday or, in this case, off a holiday weekend Tuesday, just bitching about them sucking again. Like, I have to find, and this is an internal conversation that I've been having with myself literally since Saturday night. Like, how do I turn this into a productive conversation as opposed to us just whining about how bad the football team is again?
You got to find a way to spice it up. When stuff gets bland, you got to mix it up a little bit, throw some wrinkles in there. If we're going to play my hits today, though, there is a bowl game happening today that is near and dear to my heart that I have a very strong opinion on.
Save it until after I answer.
I get it. You're always pushing me off.
Carlos's questions. Well, that's a part of trying to spice things up in the bedroom. You don't even make eye contact.
In the studio.
Well, either way. You don't even look at me in the eye anymore.
Why don't you love me?
All right. So Carlos's question is, what happened? And, it's a fair one because I feel like it's not that often that we reset. Hey, what the hell happened? Because a little behind the scenes around here, a little BTS. We had Amazon, or NFL Films rather, in here shooting some stuff for Amazon's pregame show, the way that we did last time when they played in Green Bay. And I was telling the camera crew and the production crew that was in here, I was like, boys, I don't know what you want me to say to you for promotional material for this game, because they haven't won a game since the last time they were on Thursday Night Football. And your colleagues, a different camera crew, were in here shooting promotional stuff before the Packers game, before the game when they last looked, the game that they looked the best. So what has happened since 7-3 at Green Bay? Well, the injury dam has just bust wide open. And what they did last year, with IR rules being different, where they could bring back as many players as they want, there was not a cap the way that there is this year, with 8 players that they are allowed to bring off injured reserve. This year, that cap was set for every NFL team at 8. They have used 7. And they have, obviously, a great deal, many more players on injured reserve that people would like to see back. I know it frustrates people for the answers to consistently come back to injury. But the answer consistently is what they did last year was nothing short of football miracles to get the number 1 overall seed despite having the worst injury record in NFL history as far as the number of players being used in an NFL season. And this year they couldn't find the magic. I don't think those 7 wins were fluky. I think that the 7 games they won were over teams that they were better than at the time. And after Jeff's injury in Kansas City, after Danico Autry got hurt, after Ryan Tannehill has had to play basically under duress since mid-October, there's not a lot that they can do with the pieces and parts that they field at this point. And now a good many of those parts aren't able to be fielded. So what happened? They got hurt all over the place again. And this year's team is not good enough or lucky enough even to overcome that. Luke in Nashville is next. Hey, Luke.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Well.
Since I got a minute, I got to cry a little bit. I tried to call a second ago. I got pulled over by the police, but as well.
Wait. Did you come out clean from the interaction? No ticket or anything?
I got a citation. I got to go stand tall in front of the man in a couple of weeks, but it is what it is. So I'm speeding. Don't speed in Millersville. They will get you.
Word to the wise.
Anyways, you just hit the nail on the head. The injuries, we're just not a good team. And when you have as much overtime as we have, on-field leadership then becomes suspect. I don't think there's quality leadership, and, I almost even say there could be a divide in the locker room because the guys that maybe be injured might have their own favorites they're playing. The whole dramatics of inside the locker room. But that's just a theory I had. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the call, Luke, and I'm sorry you got a citation. I hope we were not a part of that. It is very engaging conversation, I'm sure, though, and then you just start your foot. The more that you hear about the Titans using 82 players in a season, your foot just slowly sinks further on the gas pedal. Except I hope you're, being safe out there, 10-2. You bring up leadership. I think everybody would say around here locally that Kevin Byard is one of the best and best representatives of leadership that locker room currently has. I want you to hear from Kevin Byard on Saturday night after when we met with him in the locker room postgame after they lose their 5th straight, because it is rare when Kevin Byard is speechless, and that's about what we got from him on Saturday.
One word, extremely.
What does this team need to do to find its footing and try to give yourself a fighting chance to at the end of the season?
We got to win. That's it. We got to win. So,
is this the most complex time that you've gone through, in your time here?
I mean, absolutely. Definitely the most frustrating time. You try to keep things in perspective. Obviously, Christmas Eve and Christmas. Thankful to play this game with the group that I'm playing with. Grateful to be able to lead these guys, but it's just not enough right now.
Coach,
it's not enough right now. One-word answers from Kevin Byard, one of the most talkative players on the team. That when that guy's run out of answers for you, you're just kind of like, can you blame him? Somebody's got to have some. We'll work through the Malik Willis portion of this because Malik had some interesting answers. He's going to talk today, by the way. We'll carry a portion of that press conference live for you later on in the show. But in the meantime, we got winners and losers of the sports weekend. We're going to get into that coming up next. You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Buck Reising to tell you about the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. So you can move again. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. That's what you want. If you've got shoulder issues, excruciating hip pain, if you've got any lingering problems from pain caused by arthritis or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments, and you can go see the testimonials for yourself on their Instagram page. It's the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. QC Kinetics, Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Welcome back to the show. So we're going to do some winners and losers here in just a second. 615-737-1045 is how you join the conversation. I guess. Rather than foreplay around out here, let's just get straight to the act. Give me the winners and losers, shall we? Oh, no, is the computer buffering? We've got the circus music. Real difficult discussion. We're going to get back into the Titans and hear from Malik Willis here in just a second, by the way. But in the meantime, a tradition on a Tuesday, especially coming off a long holiday weekend. Who had a good weekend in sports? Who had a bad weekend in sports? Real simple stuff. Let me start with the good. You know, I had a good weekend? Nickelodeon. Nothing makes me happier than seeing the ridiculous graphics and like images of when they put an NFL football game, because they're trying to brainwash our children, clearly, by putting, the blood sport on Nickelodeon with kid commentators and graphics and slime all around. No, Timmy, don't look at the giant 300-pound man writhing in agony as his ankle is turned upside down. No, don't look at that. Look at the slime on Tony Romo's face.
When they hauled Baker Mayfield off on the giant crane, they're like, yeah, Baker Mayfield's doing a little too good. We're going to take Baker Mayfield out of here. I lost it.
That's pretty good.
If I was a kid watching this, I would definitely be hooked. You would have me brainwashed.
Oh, no, that's actively what the NFL is doing. Now, in the meantime, they have Patrick Starr making cameos on the NFL Nickelodeon broadcast. So let's turn the circus music down slightly, and let's hear from Patrick Starr's commentary, live play-by-play from the SpongeBob character of Russell Wilson throwing an interception.
That's not what he wanted to cook.
No, I think he burnt whatever he was cooking. Bobby Wagner with the interception, the SoCal kid.
He said, as Russell Wilson throws a pick, the AI or whatever, the graphically produced Patrick Starr voiceover in live time says that's not what he wanted to cook as Russell Wilson throws another interception and gets his head coach fired yesterday.
That's got to be one of the biggest burns to have not even a real character. Patrick Starr, who on that show is the dumbest character to burn you like that.
It's a tough scene.
Everybody's getting a shot in.
Who's your winner of the sports weekend?
My winner of the sports weekend, I've got to go with Dalton Reisner. I don't know if you saw this. They had a little scuff up on the sideline between him and Brett Rippon, where Brett was saying, hey, you guys need to – I love this.
Now, wait. Clarification. Dalton Reisner is a Broncos offensive lineman. Brett Rippon is the backup quarterback in Denver.
Yes, correct. I'm glad you were here for that, because without that, I would just be saying names.
No, I'm just QB2 back here.
Well, hold the clipboard up straight. Right?
Yeah.
So Dalton Reisner and Brett got in a little scuff up where Brett was telling him, "Hey, y'all need to pick up Russell Wilson when he gets sacked. You guys don't need to be standing there." And to his credit, that is what they were doing. They were standing there and letting someone hurt him. But Dalton, who's had enough of it, he's tired of it, brother. He's tired of it. He's not going to take it anymore. The video shows him pushing him and saying, "Do something, Brett. Do something." I am an instigator at heart. I love to see people upset at each other. And if I was on this team, I would have been saying, I bet you won't hit him, Brett. I bet you. I wouldn't take that if I was you. You're going to let him talk like that? He's a second-round pick, dude. Who cares about a guard?
You just slide behind him and be like, you won't.
I bet you won't. I bet you won't.
Winner, Dalton Reisner. All right, loser, before we get to your phones on this. Loser is Nathaniel Hackett, who joins an esteemed class of coaches since the 1970, I believe, NFL merger, who did not make it through their first season as an NFL head coach. So they fire the Broncos coach yesterday, Nathaniel Hackett, after trading for and paying $250 million to Russell Wilson. So now Nathaniel Hackett is among the likes of Urban Meyer, who, is trying to credit card co-eds and kicking kickers. He joins Bobby Petrino. He joins Lou Holtz back in 1976. Nathaniel Hackett, one of the most disastrous hires on an even more disastrous franchise, given their decision-making this offseason. That's my loser of the sports weekend. Who you got?
I got to go with Zach Wilson, man. I got a list of people who have not had a greater fall from grace than he has. In the summer, he was out here kissing everybody's mama like he's young gravy. Everybody was saying he is him, and now he is not him. He is not him at all.
He is not him.
I've got a list of people that fell off farther, not as far as he has fallen. Rebecca Black fell off less than Zach Wilson. The Friday.
Oh, my God.
LMFAO. They did not fall off as quick as Zach Wilson. Jason
No, in fact, I think
Mraz.
Red Foo is still out here doing it.
Yeah, Dane Cook.
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, no, he went to jail.
Amanda Bynes. Frankie Muniz. B.O.B. All of which did not fall off as quick. Jeff Dunham, as quick as Zach Wilson did. Now he would be lucky to mac on your aunt with a mustache at dinner. I don't know what he's going to do. I loved Robert Saleh, though, saying, we're not done with this young man. No, we are not, because we are going to try to trade him for a 7th-round pick.
Except his mother, who's responding to Jets fans in her DMs by saying, your fan base is toxic. Nobody can succeed here.
Oh, my gosh.
It's tremendous.
She's feeding into it because you do not want to be Zach's mom. I think only Stacy's mom has a worse go of things.
No, not at this point. 615-737-1045. Who are the winners and losers of the sports weekend? How about Maria in Antioch? What's up, Maria?
Hey, guys. Winner is Jair Alexander's speech after his interception. And losers would be our own Tennessee Titans offensive coaching staff for not being able to capitalize on the interceptions our own defense made over the weekend. I think a big part of that is just lack of talent, because we pay entirely too much for players that we don't need and not nearly enough for the ones that we do. So we got to change that in the offseason. That's it for me.
Thank you for the call, Maria. 615-737-1045. Head on a swivel out there. Maria's gunning for you. I think that paying players you don't need versus players that you do. Well, you do need Taylor Lewan. You do need Harold Landry. You do need Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Kevin Byard is highly compensated or well compensated at this point. All the players that are on big contracts, you do need. They're just, a good portion of them are not playing. How about Eric in Nashville up next? Hey, Eric.
Hey, another guy you could throw in there is Les Steckel, who got fired after 13th season with the Minnesota Vikings after one season. So, and I hope you guys had a great Christmas.
We sure
guys,
did.
I'm going to go in the reverse. My biggest loser has to be the Miami Dolphins, who now have lost 4 in a row. 2 is hurt again, concussed. And, boy, I think Tyreek Hill did him no favors by all this stuff going out. Oh, he throws a better ball, better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, put all that pressure on him, so that didn't help. But my biggest winner this week, guys, got to go to Andy Reid. He won the game, of course, over the Seattle Seahawks, clinched the playoff spot and the division. And not only that, post-game, he got himself a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger in paradise. I love it. I'm so envious of him, guys. So those are my biggest win and loser. Guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for the call, my guy. Hope you had a good holiday as well. Hope all you guys had a good holiday. We open the show that way, but, never hurts to say it again. We will get back to your phone calls. We're going to dive into the Malik Willis conversation coming up next. So if you want to weigh in, we would be happy to have you, 615-737-1045, because he made some interesting comments after the game to a question that I asked him. And the response was somewhere between unprompted and tone deaf. You're going to hear those comments coming up next. Superbook Sports is where you go to wager on all the remaining NFL action, the NHL, the NBA, college football, and basketball bowl games getting ready to start here in just a little bit. You can do all of these things and enjoy yourself in the Superbook Sports app. So download it today. They'll match your first bet up to $1,000, win or lose, and they will offer you the best odds boosts and promo bets that you can find. You can check out those odds boosts and promotional bets in the Tennessee tab in the Superbook Sports app. There is a tab specifically for local teams, so you can get those great odds boosts and promo bets on your favorite hometown squads. So download the Superbook app today. Go to superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
11:01. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Robert Walsh. Last night on Monday Night Football, you saw the Chargers beat the Colts 20-3 in a game that frustrated plenty of fantasy managers as the Chargers defense sacked Nick Foles 7 times and added another 3 interceptions to go along with it. With the win, the Chargers have clinched a playoff spot for the first time in the Justin Herbert era. And the Titans' Monday injury report didn't look pretty, even though it was just a walkthrough. 11 of the 12 players on the list did not practice, and some pretty big names on that list, including Danico Autry, Bud Dupree, Christian Fulton, Derrick Henry, Amani Hooker, Jeffrey Simmons, and MPF. They all didn't practice. And the Titans have signed guard Danny Isidora to the team's practice squad. Danny was a 5th-round selection for the Vikings in 2017. Over his career, he has played in 31 games and 6 starts for the Vikings, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Cardinals. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour is upon us. Welcome in. Welcome back. If you've been hanging out with us so far, we are very pleased to have you here. Robert Walsh and myself. Lucas is back from vacation tomorrow. The gang will be back together. But in the meantime, we got you here until 1 o'clock. 615-737-1045. Jump in as you like. We are going to focus in at this point in the proceedings. Going to take a closer look at Malik Willis. And Malik, now the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future, but they have not made an official determination like long-term on Ryan Tannehill, so that's something to keep in mind. But Malik Willis is the Titans' starting quarterback for the time being. How much longer that lasts this season? Who's to say? How much further that goes beyond 2022? I think that's very much up for debate. But now as we continue to get a larger sample size of this guy, we're going to do what they're doing at this point. We're going to make a determination on whether this guy can be a franchise quarterback moving forward. By the way, Mike Vrabel is going to speak at noon today. Malik Willis at 12:15, so we'll carry that press conference live for you. And so as I looked at Malik Willis and watched that game, there were some plays that he made that I loved. There was some throws that he made that I said, okay, it's there's signs of life there. Obviously, he's a talented player. There were moments, as far as development is concerned, where I felt like, okay, if the offensive line gave him a shred of help as they work with Dennis Daly, Jordan Ruse, Aaron Brewer, Corey Levin. No, Brewer was out for this game, wasn't he? They've got Corey Levin. They've got Brewer, they've got Ruse, they've got NPF. Brewer, I think, did play, if I remember correctly. Nate Davis is the one who went on IR. That's right. So I watched Malik, and I watched it back again Sunday. I watched it back again this morning. And I came away feeling, from the television copy standpoint, like, all right, I was talking myself into it a little bit on Saturday. Because there were moments where I looked around and said, all right, if the offensive line gave him any kind of help, he could manage this thing. And there were moments when he was managing, but there's still so much to his game that needs to be cleaned up. And you can't win with him right now. Like, not win in the ways that you need to win with him right now. Now, he'll have 2 more opportunities. He's going to be on primetime Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons is going to be after him. Micah Parsons and the Cowboys pass rush looking at Dennis Daly this week and just sitting there thinking like, oh, okay, game on. They've not had a great stretch here lately, but I think they're looking at this as an opportunity to get right. So we know the offensive line situation isn't changing, and we know that Malik is going to have the opportunity to prove something to the organization, to the coaching staff, to his teammates, and to all of us watching from an analytical perspective or, just as a fan. And I think the Malik thing, for me, comes down to this. There are offenses in the NFL that will allow you to have success with quarterbacks who have not minimal talent, but can operate. Like, none of these guys are talentless. If you make it to the NFL, you have talent. But I watch Mr. Irrelevant, right? Brock Purdy. And I see Teddy Bridgewater before he got concussed in the limited sample size where he filled in for Tua. I'm watching Cooper Rush and, Andy Dalton, I guess, is no longer considered a backup given that he's been the starter for so long at this point. But Dalton at this point in his career is largely regarded as a backup. So I look at all these guys and I say, all right, there are offenses in the NFL where you can manufacture stuff for quarterbacks who aren't the most talented, but who understand their situation, the system that they're in, and they can execute to a degree. They're not going to outright win you a game, but they can put you in positions to succeed. Now, Malik, I think right now, and he'll have the opportunity to change this as he gets more live reps, but what I see from Malik is somebody who can operate within a system, who's clearly more comfortable in the system than he was when he first got here. Thankfully, if you're a Titans fan or a coach or a player, thankfully if you're Malik, right? He's making progress. But the system here is not such that it allows for him to have easy wins. Now, sometimes those opportunities do present themselves, and he just either doesn't see the throw, doesn't read the defense correctly. He's been better about going through progressions. That's a big thing. But it's still not enough right now because you need the layups when the layups are there to be had. This is not an offense that does well with layups. And again, comes back to the offensive coordinator conversation, all these different things. But it's not an offense that presents a lot of layups for the quarterback. And beyond that, the offensive line makes everything harder to do. So I'm going to evaluate Malik based off performance. And what Malik's performance looked like on Saturday versus what it actually ended up bearing out is that this is a guy who can make some plays with his arm and his legs. But for the most part, at this point, he's just kind of running around out there. 14 of 23, 99 yards, 2 picks. One, the Hail Mary at the end, I'm not necessarily going to count against him. The first interception, the interception that was the backbreaker, it felt like, that he just didn't see. He just flat didn't see it. Now, Tannehill has thrown some interceptions like that, but he doesn't throw. Malik Willis in now, what was that? That's his third NFL start. Malik Willis is throwing interceptions at obviously a higher rate than Ryan Tannehill does. So the ability to take care of the football, you're jeopardizing that even more when the quarterback doesn't necessarily know what he's looking at just yet. That's only going to subside by him playing more. So right now, if you ask me, I don't know, to put a letter grade on it, I'd probably look at him and say C-, D+, probably closer to a D+ than C-, because he's just not a professional NFL quarterback. And you don't have to be a starter to be a professional NFL quarterback, but you have to be able to operate. And this guy is, whether it's miscommunications with him and a new center, Corey Levin, who was in there, spoke to some of that. So did Mike Vrabel about Levin, kind of having some pre-snap snafus. But it's not at a point where they can win with this guy playing the way that he's playing, if that makes sense.
No, it does, because I don't think they expected him to have to start at the beginning of this year. When they drafted him, they didn't expect him to have to do any of this. And I'm kind of the opinion that we're really not going to know what he is until you see this offense in its complete form, in a healthier form, because we wouldn't be able to evaluate let's put our business, for example. If it was you in here and you had a bad producer and you had a bad studio and you had a bad boss and everything around you was bad, would we be able to evaluate how good of a radio professional you are? There's no joke there. I know you keep thinking what does he say?
What am I walking into here is what I'm thinking.
Right. I think we would still be able to tell you were terrible. That's what I was going for.
I feel like in our business, it's kind of like football. In our business, you know when you know. And I think that can very much be applied to this, or at least in principle, to many professions. But specifically off of, individual performance, it's not good enough right now. Do you have, and it's okay if you don't, Robert, we can play it for people coming up next, but do you have the Malik Willis press conference stuff?
I do.
Okay. I asked Malik, and it wasn't a leading question at all. Is the question in here?
Yep, you're in here.
Okay.
I know you love hearing your own voice.
No, in fact, I'm quite tired of myself. But I do think that to hear the question is important for the context of how it is that he responded. Because how he responded, I thought was kind of weird. Here was the exchange Saturday night. How comfortable were you once you got out there after having a week to kind of get ready for this after?
I mean, I was fine, regardless of what you see on the stat line. I mean, stat line. If you're looking at the stat line, I mean, you can go worry about your fantasy team, not real life. So, other than that, I felt comfortable out there. I mean, we got some plays going early. Penalties deferred us. I mean, they just knocked us off what we was doing. They knocked us off our rhythm. In the second half, just turnovers. I mean, that's the way the game goes. Whoever doesn't turn the ball over, whoever gets the most completions, whoever gets the most first downs, they win the game. So.
You just said don't look at the stat line, then you recited a bunch of stats, so they were important, yeah?
I mean, you think so? I didn't recite stats. I mean, those aren't stats. Those are plays in the game. There's 3rd and 7. You know, are we going to put our defense back on the field after they just got off and have them tired trying to stop their offense who's been chilling? Or are we going to convert and just make it easier for our defense? These are moments. It's more than just a stat.
You feel like you put forth a winning effort today, or you come up short?
I think if we didn't win, no, I didn't. You know, we can do better.
So that's Malik Willis with us on Saturday. I didn't bring up his stats. I simply asked him how comfortable he was out there with a week to prepare, basically. And the fact that he defaulted to the stat line, and I understood what he was saying. Basically, like if you looked at the stat line, you probably didn't think I was terribly comfortable out there. To which, in a different kind of setting, had it been a more personal interaction rather than a press conference, I would have said, buddy, I've seen your stat lines before. Your stat line to me is not equitable to your comfort level. I'm asking you if you're comfortable playing the quarterback position in this offense. Not what you did or did not do. As far as I do have a fantasy team. I haven't checked it since week 4. But I think that
you are the worst.
We can't put money on it. Why am I playing fantasy football in the Titans Media League if we can't put money on it?
That's all I need to know. You're not a real gamer. You're not a real sportsman. You don't really care. There's no money on the line. See, if you were a Titans player, that's what would happen. We would lose. You're not a real competitor. Not a real dog.
Or you mean like the locker room as
you would be
the
Dennis Daly.
I would be
you would be the Dennis Daly. You haven't checked your lineup since week 4. Those people get kicked out of my leagues. I wouldn't play fantasy football with you ever again.
Well, I'm actively seeking less invitations to fantasy football competition, so my plan is going swimmingly for me thus far. But point being, I did not ask him about his statistics. And for him to go into he said it was more situational than statistics. And situationally, they were poor. So I don't know what point he's trying to make there. But we're going to dive into this a little bit more. We'll take your phone calls on it. You'll hear from Mike Vrabel yesterday about Malik. And this a comment that Mike made about 8 to 4 players that he clarified a little bit yesterday. But the messaging on it, it's still there. 615-737-1045. You'll hear that, and we'll take your phone calls coming up next. Winter is officially upon us, and I've got the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. If you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to help you. Now is the time to do so because regulations are coming that could cause an increase in the price of over 20% of replacing your older HVAC system. Right now, they will offer you 18 months with no payments or up to $1,500 off your new HVAC system when you replace it with Spring Hill AC. As always, they back their work with a 10-year parts and labor warranty on York products and are also a York-certified comfort expert company. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
The Buck Reising Show is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Go to springhillac.com.
Welcome back. So Malik Willis, what do we feel like we learned? That's basically what the rest of the season is at this point. Yes, there is still AFC South winning aspirations on the line. Yes, they should still actively try to win the division, even though I think a lot of people, I don't know, I think more and more people are moving towards the position of lose out, get a better draft pick, because theoretically you could end up in the top 10. They're picking 13th right now.
Isn't that nuts, dude? That's crazy. And think, I don't want to get everybody excited. I know we're talking about teasing and whatnot, spicing things up. But look at the receivers that were drafted last year in the top 13. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Chris Olave. If you could add someone like that, I feel like Titans fans would be excited. Maybe not behind this offensive line, but it would be something, right?
Was Burks 13th or 18th?
18th. I think it was the second of the Eagles picks that was traded, but I can double check that.
I will do that. Traylon Burks, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the selling point that was last year. Oh, you got a top 20 NFL draft pick. He was drafted 18th. So, yeah, outside the top 13. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talented wide receivers every year. Wide receivers help. They need more pass catching threats. They need protection. Like rookie offensive linemen are largely terrible. Largely terrible. Like if ever we needed, I mean, I know college football is a minor league system anyway, but if there was ever the need for like a AAA farm system in the NFL, it would be just for offensive linemen. Like send them down for a year or two until they can actually play like NFL professionals, then send them back up to actually keep quarterbacks off their backs, because like NPF is struggling, and that's fine. He's a rookie third-round pick. There are players with better pedigree that will struggle. There are players with more experience that will struggle at times. There's a lot of good defensive ends and linemen in the league, but I do think rookie offensive linemen are particularly bad when they get here. And the idea of pouring your most valuable draft capital into that versus a wide receiver is, man, it's a tough sell. But let's focus in on Malik. What did you feel like you learned, if anything, from Malik Willis, positively or negatively? You're going to hear from Mike Vrabel about the situation that he feels like they're in here in just a second. But first, let's go to Bradley in San Diego. Hey, Bradley. Hey, Bradley.
Hey, Buck, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hey, good morning. First, I wanted to say Robbie's doing what MPF did to Kessenberry, and that's taking Lucas's job. But no, I wanted to talk about like the O-line. So you kind of hit the nail on the head. So the O-line, if you fix the O-line, you fix more than half of our offensive problems. You give Malik more time. You allow Robert Woods to get open. Traylon Burks, as long as he's healthy, get open. Derrick Henry, if we get some blocking, Derrick Henry will get his runs back. And then also, I just had more of a question for you too. Like, what are they doing with strength and conditioning? Like, with all these injuries 2 years in a row, are they looking at the strength and conditioning staff, or are we just going to blame the OC for everything?
Yeah, that is going to be the discussion this offseason. As much as Todd, the OC. Thank you for the call, Bradley. Where they go, because it's not even like let me say this on the front end, okay? Strength and conditioning, I understand what it is. I understand who's on the staff here. I don't know their weight routine. I don't know their schedule for weightlifting, for conditioning. On top of that, I think at this point in the year, nobody's getting stronger or faster in the NFL season. Like, strength and conditioning to me is more a preemptive thing. I mean, yes, they lift in the season. They practice and stuff like that. They get on the bike from time to time, but like that in season, I don't necessarily think of strength and conditioning as being the ones responsible for, this literal mash unit that we see in front of us on a week-by-week basis. Recovery and the training staff are the two things that now there are some crossover parts there, but recovery, why can't they get these guys back from injuries that most teams are able to manage? Now, you could look around a variety of different NFL teams, variety of different franchises. I don't know if it's back-to-back as bad of years as the Titans have had, but you would find a lot of fan bases, I think, in the NFL who would probably bring this up as something that needs to be changed in the offseason. There are frustrations everywhere, and you want to know why your team isn't as healthy as every other team. In reality, no NFL team is in good shape, but there are teams who do better at mitigating or helping these guys get back up to speed as best they can. The Titans are not able to consistently keep guys on the field. That's my question. Now, there's no injury. I mean, there are some injuries that are created the same, but it's almost impossible to find like the exact same situation that the exact same injury happened beyond like ACLs or hammies or Achilles.
And I think you can pick through the injury report and see that, where it's like, okay, like early in the season, you had a freak injury with Harold Landry.
Yeah.
Now Jeffrey Simmons, his injury is more of like a bang-up thing, where he's just being beaten every play on the line of scrimmage.
And it's got to be managed all year long.
For sure. And Derrick Henry, he's getting punched in the mouth every single play, every run. So his is a knick-knack injury. Then you got guys like Caleb Farley, which is more like a medical thing. This team has just got hit with the perfect storm of injuries, in my opinion. I don't know if you can pinpoint one thing, and there might be something that could have impacted that greater than another cause, but I feel like they just got hit with a perfect storm for the second year in a row.
So, like I said, that'll all be worked through in the coming months because these are legitimate questions that need to be asked. Now, should they go on a 3-year healthy stretch with the same training and strength and conditioning staff? And does it go away after that? Are people still been out of shape about it? Do they still want the strength and conditioning staff, the training staff, whomever, fired? Whatever medical interns are running around there as well. Like I don't know how much to kind of assign credit or blame in these circumstances when that's just a whole part of their world that they keep more blocked off than anything else. And it's not like, I mean, we have, I think, relative to most NFL media corps, we have really good access. I think despite Vrabel's reticence, I think the Titans PR staff does do well to make sure that we have ample opportunities to get what it is that we need. But, obviously they're not going to let us into the training room to ask questions of Todd Torricelli and stuff like that. Like it's never going to go down that way. The only time that I can remember this really being a thing for an NFL team is the artists formerly known as the Washington Racial Slurs, where the Commander Skins football team, Alex Smith, had that gruesome ankle situation.
Almost lost his life.
And then afterwards, because I believe he had to have another procedure, there was a time when it wasn't a certainty that he was going to keep his leg. There was some studies and reporting done on the Washington situation because they also had a scenario where stuff would reoccur around injuries. He had some kind of infection on his leg that was a product of them not properly cleaning the turf. That's something that, I mean, if you work in equipment and stuff like that, yeah, you're probably thinking about that because there's all kinds of God knows what fluids on the football field, all kind of bacteria and whatnot. And if it's turf as opposed to grass, well, you're just rolling around in it if you don't have the proper situation to make sure that that's taken care of and that it's not a health risk to you out there. Alex Smith, when he had this injury, picked up something from the field that caused further infection and had to go back and be reevaluated. The Chargers, right? Literally puncturing Tyrod Taylor's lung.
That was an inside job. They wanted Herbert to start, man.
That worked out.
That infection you're talking about, necrotizing fasciitis, which basically just means the skin was turning on itself. It's
flesh-eating bacteria.
And that turned into sepsis, which I believe is like a blood infection.
So in those circumstances where it is so egregious, then yes, that is the kind of stuff that comes to mind. But this rash of injuries that they have, there's so many situations that are not created equal. But I do think that it is relevant that they can't keep guys or get guys back out on the field for any kind of sustainable time. Let's go to Alex and Dixon next. Hey, Alex.
Hey guys, before the season, I think we all knew Malik's limitations, and personally, I was excited for him, and just because I knew that he could sit behind Tannehill for a year and develop more into an NFL ready quarterback. But, as the season has gone on, I'm at the point now where I think I've seen kind of all I need to see when it comes to Malik. And I understand he's, it's his first year. He's a rookie. He has a lot of time left. But, I just really don't see him being more than just below average backup, because I would be pressed to think that there's, a handful of backups I think would be even better than him in the future. But, I really think the Titans will be wasting a lot of their time trying to fit a, square peg in a circle hole with Malik. I say we either keep Tannehill next year or, because I don't really like the quarterbacks in this class, especially if we only pick at 10 to 12. So, I just don't think Malik is the long-term solution. I think it'd be a waste of time to keep, trying to develop him. I say we just keep him, let him compete, and just have him as a backup. So, thanks, guys.
Well, thank you for the call, Alex. He needs to develop, backup or not. Like, I don't care whether he's a franchise quarterback or not yet. They need to. But, I don't care if he's a franchise quarterback yet. He needs to develop as a backup. That's my whole thing. I need to be able to trust that the backup quarterback can go in there and run the offense. And this current backup quarterback cannot go in there and effectively execute all of the offense or as much of the offense as he needs to be able to run this thing. That's why I thought the comments from him about bringing up his box score unprompted, buddy, I don't care about your box score. I care, did you do enough to win the football game? Did you throw a back-breaking interception because you didn't see a defender? Yes. Are you staying consistent? And I already railed about consistency, the word, but legitimately, are your eyes married to your feet consistently when it comes to the accuracy of your throws? Are we seeing that accuracy develop in real time? Are you able to, instead of just gunning it down the field and ripping it into tight windows like a lot of NFL quarterbacks can do, are you able to play with touch? Can you feather the throws in there? Can you get one over a linebacker in coverage to throw it to a spot where you know the wide receiver is going to be? Those are all the kind of things that he needs to develop regardless of not. If he wants to have any kind, starter or backup of an NFL career, those are the things that require development. So they shouldn't give up on trying to develop Malik, but they are going to make a decision whether he is good enough to move on from Ryan Tannehill. Right now, no is the answer to that question. If you want to continue to field a above average competitive football team, he is not better than Ryan Tannehill. And that's what this comes down to. Now, are there going to be options that are better than Ryan Tannehill on the market? Can you find a worthy trade partner to do something with Tannehill? Can you turn that into a better draft position? These are all questions that current interim general manager Ryan Cowden, and if it ends up being Cowden, if they promote from within or if they bring somebody externally to do the GM job, that's what's on their plate. Again, I say to you, this is the most important time. These next two games, or I guess three, including Houston, this is now as important a time as any in the next, I would argue, 5 years of the franchise, because you've got a legitimate decision about the quarterback to make. And that obviously affects whatever the next life cycle or era of Titans football becomes. Let's go to Jackie in New Mexico. Hey, Jackie.
What's up, Buck?
All right.
I was just calling to comment on this strength and conditioning deal. I think the injuries are more a product of the artist formerly known as J-Rob trying to find value with guys who have injury history than they are the conditioning staff. If you look like Dupree coming off of ACL, who's face injuries,
Well, yeah, but so hang on, Jackie, hang on, because let's work off that Bud Dupree example. So what's his ACL got to do with his hip or his pec?
It doesn't really, but
so those are the two things. The ACL's not what's keeping him off the field. It's been two different hip pointer injuries and a pectoral issue.
Yeah, but he's injury prone. He had an injury, and then you bring him in because you think he's good value, and he gets another injury.
No, Jackie, those three issues are not connected in any way, shape, or form. And I appreciate the call. Thank you for it. 615-737-1045. Injury prone, to me, and maybe we have a different definition of injury prone. But injury prone to me means you have an injury that continues to occur and cause you problems related to that injury. Now, can guys have, a degree of toughness more than another dude? Sure. Can you have a higher pain tolerance than another player or a lower pain tolerance than another player that leads you to miss more time? Yes. But to say, like Bud is the example. Now, Caleb Farley, okay. Caleb Farley, injury prone because he had another back issue. It's the third back procedure that he's had. That, to me, is injury prone because it's the same general area where there is a recurrence of injury. Bud Dupree being signed off a torn ACL, not having any issues with his knee this year, but dealing with 2 hip pointers and a pec situation as of this last game, that to me does not constitute injury prone. And I think if you're going to lob that as an accusation, that's fine. But you have to be willing to parse through each individual player like that. Like, is Taylor Lewan injury prone? So, PED suspension, torn ACLs. The ACL did recur, but apparently there's a situation why that might have recurred that, it's Taylor's business, and I'm sure whenever he wants to talk about that, he can talk about that. But Taylor, right now, I think most people would look at his knee situation and call Taylor injury prone because the ACL has now cost him the better part of 2 seasons. I think that's a fair assessment. Mike in Murfreesboro is next. Hey, Mike.
Speaking about Taylor, he's very open. I would be curious as to know from him if there is a different conditioning program for the rookies, for the 1- and 2-year guys, as there is for the veterans, and if there was when he started, is it still to this point after he started having these recurring injuries, and he would be one to say, yeah, I can tie it to that, or I'd tie it to myself. Along with that, maybe that has something to do with Malik's ability or inability to get up to speed. It looks like we're watching him see what he needs to see, but he's not able to react. Maybe this also ties to the conditioning where they're not getting him up to speed properly. That's what I think Taylor might shed some light on. Thanks, guys. Y'all do great. Love the heck out of y'all.
Love you too. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. So there's a lot of different things there. Here's what I would want. I wouldn't want to necessarily ask Taylor about the strength and conditioning stuff. I would like to ask the question of former Titans players now on different teams. How much so let's take an offensive lineman. Let's take Roger Saffold, who this team moved on because he was, in many people's terms, injury prone at the end of his career. Now, Roger's past the peak of his powers, but I think Roger started every game for the Bills this year. He had a neck situation and a knee problem while he was here. Now, I'm sure that Roger is not playing 100% healthy all of the snaps, but I would be curious to know, hey, Raj, are you getting significantly different treatment in Buffalo that is allowing your availability to be better as opposed to what you received from the Titans? Because he's a good example. You go from St. Louis Rams to LA Rams to Titans to Bills. Compare those recovery and training staffs for me so that I can have a better context for what it is that you're working through or that what players here are working through. I would like to ask this question of Saffold. I would like to ask this question of A.J. Brown in Philadelphia. What was one of the biggest knocks on A.J.? Oh, guy can't stay healthy. A.J.'s not missing games in Philly. Now, what he does beyond this year, who's to say? But I have this season as a sample size, and A.J. Brown seems as healthy as he's ever been. Seems as healthy as his rookie season. And while he was here, that was something that Titans fans hit him over the head with a lot. Not a problem now. We'll continue with your phone calls. You're going to hear from Mike Vrabel on a statement he made in the post-game press conference that was kind of jarring as far as red flags are concerned with this locker room. We'll do that and take more of your phone calls coming up next I'm Buck Reising. It's 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045. Welcome back to the show. So, what's the bigger red flag? The Titans quarterback situation? Put that on the poll, Robert, at Buck Reising. It's where you vote on the polls. What's the bigger Titans red flag? The quarterback situation or the rest of the roster? So obviously you can't have one thing without the other, and both of those things are very interconnected. But the quarterback is obviously not well enough equipped to elevate you. The roster is not equipped to elevate the quarterback. And I've had a change of tune about this stuff really in the last couple of, I would say the last month or so, where we've gotten some calls and the question will become, well, or the statement by a caller or a tweeter or somebody on Zone TV, whatever, will become, well, the Titans don't have a good enough quarterback to elevate all the different players that they need to elevate. And if you have like one of the three guys, there might not even be three at this stage, but one of like the three guys who fit that mold, then I'm inclined to agree with you. But everybody else has to figure out their roster and how the quarterback works within it. It's easier to elevate a quarterback by nature of a roster than it is for the quarterback to pick up all the other pieces around him. Look at Lamar. Lamar Jackson is a great example of this. The Ravens now they're still a 10-win football team at this time, and obviously Lamar has missed some time, and they've won without him. But there are elements of Lamar can only do so much about the Ravens. Even as Lamar is an MVP caliber quarterback, there needs to be other things to pick that guy up. Now it becomes a lot more complicated for Baltimore, for example, because that guy's going to get paid. And with Malik is in a stage of things where, yeah, it's a lot easier if you have things to elevate the quarterback as opposed to expecting the quarterback to elevate everything else. Because it's just, Tannehill is not overwhelmingly capable of elevating this particular Titanic version of the Titans. So that becomes a big question heading into this offseason. Mike Vrabel's going to speak in about 10 minutes. We'll carry it for you. But I want you to hear this exchange between us on Saturday night in the press conference with Mike and about the difficulties of this particular season. Because he brings up something here that I think caught a lot of people's attention. See if you can pick out what that is. Here's the head coach.
Would you say that this is the most difficult time that you've encountered as a coach since you've been here?
I think that's part of the job. I think that's part of this obligation to the football team is to try to be as honest as you can with them. Try to recognize the difference between, a guy making a mistake. You hear, man, I hate losing. I hate losing too. So maybe we should love preparing and love focusing before the game and doing as much as we possibly can so that we don't make mistakes in critical times or mental errors or things that could be avoided. As far as, it's part of the job. It's rewarding watching guys succeed. That's why I do this and watching them develop and improve. But the losses, certainly hurt.
When you say maybe we should love preparing and doing the things before the game, are you saying that you may not have 100% buy-in?
Well, it's not the buy-in. It's just, how much are we doing outside of the time that we're at the facility? I don't know. Those are questions that, if they just, if you as a professional athlete just work 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30, and I don't know how much you get out of it. Maybe God gifted you with some really, really cool talents. We just have to, all do a little bit more. And that's with me and the preparation, and that's with the coaches and the players, and, just a little bit more of everything.
Do you have 8 to 4 guys right now, Mike?
No, again, we just make sure that, everybody's as committed as we need to be. We got a lot of moving parts. I don't know if you, go ahead, Teresa. I'll answer one more question.
The weather delay, did that affect anything?
That was Mike Vrabel speaking about 8 to 4 guys. Those are questions. All right. He's asked if he doesn't feel like he has the buy-in. It's not that buy-in is the question. It's how much are we doing outside of the time that we're at the facility? I don't know. those are questions that if you as a professional athlete just work at 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30, then I don't know how much you get out of it. Maybe God gifted you with some really cool talents. We just all have to do a little bit more. And then the follow-up naturally is, do you have 8 to 4 guys right now? And he says no. And then he was asked to clarify it yesterday, and he kind of went through the things that he was trying to clarify. He's saying, or at least yesterday is what he told us. He's saying organizationally, what more can you do? Are you doing everything within your power to do this? And he's not saying anything to us that he's not saying anything to he's not saying anything to us that he's not saying to them. But the fact that he even has to say that to them, that's a red flag, bud.
Did God give you any cool talents?
The voice, that's about it.
Oh, God. And that face definitely didn't do you any favors. You got in the right spot. NFL Networks was in here today, and I was wondering why they were recording you, and they could have just got the audio, but then they decided to put your face on it.
Well, one, because I'm classically good looking.
Classically, your jaw
I'm literally the definition of tall, dark, and handsome.
Well, you're looking pretty pale around the neck, buddy. You might want to go outside with one of them old school reflectors. But
it's 6 degrees outside.
Your jaw also leaves a little bit to be desired. I think you should ask whoever your beard trimmer is to try to cut it up a little bit higher so we can see a little chisel bone, maybe.
Okay.
How are your calves looking?
Pretty good, actually. You like a soup bowl.
Yeah, I think those are also
those.
necessary for classically handsome men.
Yeah. So I think the juxtaposition was, well, he walked into a radio station, he saw you with a zip-up hoodie and no shirt on, and then he saw me and he said, you know what, that's the one that we should probably put on camera.
You don't think they want to put me on there, make everybody feel better about themselves?
I think they
like,
actively.
At least I'm not that ugly.
It's not about your physical appearance. Well, it is about your physical appearance.
It's that I'm dressed like a bum.
It's that you looked like I paid you $5 to come in here and run my radio show today.
That's not far off.
A little too close. 615-737-1045. Mike Vrabel speaks to the media coming up next.
It's noon 01. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans' injury report on Monday didn't look pretty, even though it was just a walkthrough. 11 of those 12 players on the list did not participate, and some pretty big names on that list. Derrick Henry, Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker, Jeffrey Simmons, and NPF all did not practice. You'll hear more of that from Mike Vrabel as we broadcast his press conference on the Buck Reising Show. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Third down on a Tuesday. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. Mike Vrabel's at the podium. I'm going to shut up, get out of the way, let the head coach do the talking.
Up things and, the communication and all the things that go into playing quarterback.
As far as preparation standpoint for this week, what's your schedule look like as far as what's on the field, in the classroom, and maybe how do you decide what's most important on a short week?
Well, I mean, we've tried to, come up with a plan that's been, all about trying to get recovered mentally and physically with these guys and understand the toll that the game takes on them each and every week, especially late in the season. I'm glad that they had, spend some time with family on Christmas, and, we'll add a little bit more than what we did yesterday from a walk-through perspective and try to get moving around in individual. Today will still be, a lot of team reps in a walk-through setting. Tomorrow we'll probably ramp that up a little bit. I think that, just some of the timing things that go into, especially throwing the football, seeing where guys are at and seeing what we can do from a speed standpoint to get ready for Thursday night.
What can you do from a meeting standpoint Thursday during the day since you've got a full day there?
Well, you try to get a little bit in, but I don't want to, you just haven't been in those positions to sit in meetings all day. I think it's important to get them up. What we've done in the past is get them up, get over here. We're at home, so we have a great facility. Feed them and have some brief meetings just to kind of stimulate them a little bit. Maybe get them up, move them around, walk through, and really just try to give them the day to, to put themselves in a in a mindset to go, prepare and win and, perform. So just because you have the extra time, I don't think it's beneficial to sit there and meet all the way up until 5 o'clock. But I think it's important to do a little bit in the morning and then give these guys an opportunity to get into their routine that they have for the game.
How do you handle your stress load right now? I mean, this is kind of uncharted territory for you as head coach. How do you know what's too much and how far you can push yourself and your team?
Well, I mean, I think that, to be in these positions, to be able to, withstand and handle adversity and, where we're at. I mean, it's nobody wants to have been in this position. Nobody wants to, have the amount of players and the turnover that we've had to have. But it's also my job to figure it out and to communicate, to lead, to, be honest with where we're at. And, I kind of handle it by being around the players, being around the coaches. I find that that's always best, that when you concern yourself with other people, you have less of a chance to sit there and worry about yourself. So that's what I try to tell the team. That's what I prescribe to. I try to be around the players and teach and coach.
There's no real playbook for that, Mike. How did you kind of figure out what works best for you in that process?
I think that there's a lot of trial and error. I think I've gotten a lot of help, from things that we've tried to do as a family, or, just when you work through things and, just getting back to fundamentals, getting back to, the consistency.
In times like this, do you reach out to some of the guys that you've mentioned as mentors, like Ron Rivera, Bill Cowher?
No, I mean, I think that this is, No, I mean, other than to say Merry Christmas, you know what I mean, and keep grinding. You know, that's what I texted Ron. No, it's this isn't. No, this isn't too much for us to. We're excited. You know, I mean, we're excited where we're at. We're excited for the opportunities. Like I said the other day, like, you know, watching guys like Jordan Roos, you know, just prepare and leave it out on the field, and again, played well up until, you know, had some plays that he'd like to have back and late in the game in protection. But, you know, every one of our favorable runs or our explosive runs, he was there finishing. Or pulling around, making something happen. And, you know, it's those guys, Corey Levin or any of them that have gotten an opportunity because of the situation that's presented itself for whatever reason that they've gotten that chance is taking advantage of it.
How much have you found that in all that you've had to go through with the injuries and subbing guys in and out, that the fact that there still is an avenue to the playoffs is pretty simple? How much does that kind of keep the carrot out there dangling?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're all, you know, I mean, we're all fighting for, is to get into the tournament and then figure out a way to do that. We have a game Thursday. You know, we have a huge opportunity in front of us, you know, on a national stage. You know, and I think that, you know, again, whether you look at some of these games that were close and for other reasons didn't go our way, you know, that's disappointing because you had some opportunities, and you could say, well, it was because of this or that, or, you know, you're beating the Jaguars and you turn it over 4 times and, you know, don't do a good enough job on sudden change on defense, or then you go out to L.A. and, you know, it's competitive, and it's on and on and on. But now it's, you know, it's focusing on, you know, where we're at with the Cowboys.
Some of your veteran players have kind of managed the locker room, keeping guys more.
Well, I can't say enough for those guys, for Kevin, Jeffrey, you know, Danico, Derek. You know, I know Ryan's hurting. You know, Ryan's, you know, he's disappointed because he can't help us right now, because it means a lot to him. You know, he knows what his impact is to the football team as the starting quarterback. You know, so there's just a lot of guys throughout there. You know, I think, you know, Robert Woods has provided some veteran presence, and, you know, I'm sure he would have liked to caught a lot more balls through the course of, you know, 17 games or 16 games or 15 games. But he hasn't wavered in his approach, his daily approach, being out there, being available, being a leader, blocking. Has never hesitated. I mean, 15-yard reverse to Traylon, and he's finishing and he's blocking, and that's right on down the stretch.
Looking at your opportunity this week, this game doesn't affect your ability to get into the tournament, but how important is it to see one get into the win column and kind of find that winning formula again before the ultimate step?
Well, I mean, it's a great test against a talented football team, a good football team that just, you know, has won a lot of games, and so. That's what we try to do each and every week, is figure out who you have, figure out, you know, what you can do, what you can run, and you know, get them as healthy as you can, and then get them, you know, go play hard and do the things that we know that win. You know, each and every day, just do them a little bit more consistently.
You brought Traylon's reverse. How much harder do you have to work, or maybe more creative have to be to get the ball in his and Chick's hands, because they're good with it in their hands?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can only be as creative as you know, the guys out there will allow. I mean, I just don't want to put too much on guys' plate. You know, the whole operation, you know, there were plays where, you know, we were trying to get those guys the ball. You know, quarterback waited on it for, you know, a couple instances, and, you know, Traylon's got to run a better route or get open quicker, and it's on and on and on. And Trig's not, you know, can't drop the ball when we throw it to him. And so, you know, we're going to do all those things. But, you know, just making sure that some of the scheme stuff that we do, you know, everybody's on the same page so that, you know, you're not hurting yourself.
Along the same lines, do you have to guard against it all, trying to do too much? Or have there been instances when you have a thin margin for error that guys have tried to do too much and you have to coach against just or two, just doing what you?
Well, I think it starts with everybody just doing their job and not doing too much and saying, well, this, it's do your job first, do it really well, and then you can figure out ways to help other people. I think that's where it starts. You would like to have a foundation in what you're doing so that there is some, repetitiveness and that guys have gotten some work at it. Just because they're going to give you a different look on offense or defense, and you want to have answers and you want to make sure that the players are, things are sound and that they can go play.
Where's Josh in his progress to this point?
I think it's really good. I think he's put a lot of time in. I think he's been in a lot of different offenses. I think he's working hard, to learn what we're doing and, being able to manage the game and understand the operation and all those different things.
That's Mike Vrabel. His press conference is going to continue, but we want to hear from quarterback Malik Willis. We'll take some of your phone calls as well. So you'll hear from number 7 coming up next. Two Rivers Ford is the place that you need to go because their inventory is back on the lot. Truckloads of F-150s, Explorers, Edges, and Escapes have arrived, and it has been a while since Two Rivers has been fully stocked just that way. Right now, you can purchase any non-specialty new Ford below MSRP, plus lock in great financing rates, starting at just 2.9%. The best selection, the best prices, the best service, and the best value for your trade. All of those things come to you as a customer of Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford always goes above and beyond. They provide award-winning customer service along with quality American-made Ford vehicles. They've been doing it here in Middle Tennessee we're coming up on 40 years. Next year is their 40th year since 1983. They have been going above and beyond to get the best value for you or to support the community. They do all of these things at Two Rivers Ford. Powered by Ford, driven by people. What's happening right now?
I'll tell you what's happening, Buck. I'm glad you asked. I pulled up a song to play for you, and that damned Titans music is in the background. So
No!
Hold on.
This is how I'm coming back?
Hold on a second. The Buck Reising Show is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Go to springhillac.com. It pains me, too. I hate when I'm not good at my job, so I apologize for that, but make it work.
I think I still hear the song playing under this in the background.
It was Jane by Jefferson Starship. It's a banger.
Well, I'm glad that we got this instead.
Me too.
Operating on we don't have operational penalties around here. It's just the football team, right?
You just feel bad for the rest of the day.
15-yard penalty, back to the shadows. Excellent work. So Malik Willis is going to speak to the media right now. Todd Downing is at the podium. I don't necessarily care to hear from Todd Downing at this point. I don't know if you do, but I think in the meantime, it's worth continuing to discuss what Mike Vrabel had to say there about this particular game. So we have playoff clinching scenarios, and we're going to get to your phone calls here in just a second. Here's the teams in the AFC that have officially clinched. Buffalo, Kansas City, both now winners of their divisions after the Dolphins lost this past weekend. The Bengals and the Ravens are in, but the winner of the AFC North not yet decided. And the Los Angeles Chargers, by nature of beating the Colts last night 20-3, they get into the postseason as well. So those are 5 of the 7 spots that are officially locked in the AFC. Now, the Bills can clinch home field advantage if they win and Kansas City loses this weekend. So they can be the number 1 overall seed and be done with it this next weekend. Miami can get into the playoffs this weekend as well if they win and the Jets lose, or if they tie, the Jets lose, and the Steelers also tie. The Titans do not have a playoff clinching scenario for Week 17. The Jags are currently in the divisional lead, and all hell has broken loose after the local professional football team blew a 4-game divisional lead. It's crazy that we find ourselves here.
So does this game mean anything?
Nothing for either of them. Because here's the deal for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are in. Now, they have not yet decided who is going to win the vaunted, now, NFC East. But for the Cowboys, there is no scenario where they can win their division this weekend either. Philadelphia, the Commanders, and the Giants all have scenarios where they can lock in a playoff spot or win the NFC East this weekend. It literally means nothing for either team. So when we asked Mike Vrabel about this, what he said yesterday is, we'll have to make a determination on players that it makes the most sense to play, understanding that they still have to go to Jacksonville with actual playoff implications on the line and win. I asked Kevin Byard about this in the locker room yesterday. He said, I'm playing. I don't know who's not playing or who is playing. I'm playing. So you're going to be fighting uphill against some of that stuff, too, for players who maybe you'd rather not see out there. But, honestly, at safety, who the hell do they throw it? Who else do they play? They don't. That's the other problem. The guys who are still healthy, the starters who are still healthy, you almost have to put some of them out there because you just don't have the depth personnel-wise, maybe the practice squad, to kind of get through an actual game without them. It's tough. 615-737-1045. Steve is in Franklin up next. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. Love the show. So I'm going to try to rapid fire and not get hit with the music here. First of all, injuries. I think it's really hard to be the most physical team on the field and not also be the most injured team on the field. Not everybody is built like Mike Vrabel, but I think Mike expects everyone to play like Mike Vrabel, and I would too. I love the guy. If he told me to run into a brick wall, I would do it if I thought it would help the Titans. So I think that's our problem with injuries. With quarterback, man, I don't understand the high expectations for Malik Willis. He was a third-round pick by a guy that got fired for making bad draft picks. When he was first drafted, I went back and watched his career at Liberty, and, man, it was underwhelming. He looked about playing for Liberty about like he does here. He went 8-5. He averaged 233 yards per game passing, very indecisive through 12 picks. He didn't look good. And there's in the history of the NFL, 2 third-round quarterbacks have ever made it. Russell Wilson and Joe Montana. That's a good one though. And then to end it up, only 78% of the people that get drafted in the NFL go on to play more than 2 years. So Malik's already 22%. It's going to have to be in the top 22% to even make it. So
Couldn't get it done, Steve. Hit him with the music. Oh, God, I hate that thing. 60 seconds on the clock, but I understand your point about percentage of. I'm honestly surprised at 78% that make it in the NFL. That's a pretty high number. Okay, so he brought up like Malik's average passing output, average passing production as a college player at Liberty. I don't think he was talking career. I think he was talking about his last season. But either way, what do you think, Robert, is Malik Willis's current passing yard career high?
Career high. I'm going to go
with... Wait.
Oh.
He has appeared now in 8 NFL games. He has started 3 NFL games. What is Malik Willis's career high passing yardage total?
I'm going to go with 139.
And when do you think this 139 occurred?
Let's go against I'll say the Chiefs. That's tough. It was either Chiefs or Texans for me.
He had 55 yards passing against the Chiefs.
That was the most? Oh, okay, wait.
No, I'm sorry. He had 80 yards passing against the Chiefs. He
Okay.
had 55 yards passing against the Texans the first time around. His career high came this past Saturday against the Texans, where he threw for 99 yards.
Woof.
He has yet to throw for 100 yards in an NFL game.
Well, don't talk about the box score now. You don't want to unsettle nobody.
What a weird... I can't get over that comment.
Somebody, he must be one of those dudes that... I'm not going to say must be. I don't want to put anything on it. But he's got to be one of those guys that looks up things, and it's like, Malik doesn't have the stats. Somebody's got to be in his ear.
Oh, what do you think? He's name searching?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Anybody that's anybody name searches. And if they lie to you and say they don't, they're lying.
Name search yourself on Twitter?
Sure.
I don't think I've ever name searched myself on Twitter.
Where have you name searched yourself? Then?
I've for sure Googled myself.
Oh, that doesn't count. Everybody Googled themselves to see if those pics they had taken in high school came out.
No, I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm concerned about problematic, Facebook pictures from high school and stuff like that.
You will never run for mayor here.
Oh, no.
I will dig up the dirt to make sure it doesn't
I can
happen.
barely have a sports talk radio career, much less political aspirations.
Wait till I find these pictures of your political, quote, aspirations. When I find that thing, it's going to be up your profile because I'm still logged into your Twitter.
Well, the fact that you and Lucas both have direct control over my social media platforms, likely more than I do. Every once in a while, I'll notice like a DM that Robert has accidentally checked or accidentally responded to because he thinks it's his DMs.
I'm like, why are these important people sending me DMs? Yeah, Teresa, I'd love to get lunch. Wait. This was to Buck. Sorry, can't make it.
Teresa doesn't DM me for lunch. She DMs me to yell at me about something I've said. Jimmy is in Franklin up next. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, boys. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you.
What day it is, you know. So I'd love your opinion on. We all seen Dennis Daly and how incompetent he appears as a tackle, as a left tackle specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And we that's John traded for him last season for a.
As a 5th round pick, it was a 5th round pick this summer.
Yeah. So that just seems odd that because he was a 6th round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dennis was, and was that just like, hey, this guy could be a safety valve for us because he certainly is not very good. So I don't.
So your question is what? I guess, Jimmy.
Like, why would they trade for somebody that's clearly not capable of playing left tackle?
Okay, so that's a fair question. Dennis Daly, thank you for the call. 615-737-1045. They traded for Dennis Daly because they needed a feasible depth option. Now, you can argue that trading a higher draft pick than the selection that the player was that you were acquiring, and by the way, a player who was likely going to get cut Carolina did not seem like they had any intention of keeping Dennis Daly. But they, instead of releasing him, because you see a lot of times if Team X does not trade player Y, then Team X plans to release player Y. Except Dennis Daly didn't get released. Dennis Daly got traded for because the Titans needed any kind of depth. Once Radens didn't win the starting job and they couldn't play him at tackle, they said, okay, we need a tackle because this guy's not a tackle. So they go and get Dennis Daly. That's while Lawan's still healthy. Once Lawan goes down, Dennis Daly becomes your starting left tackle. Now, I don't think they ever envisioned Dennis Daly basically starting from the second offensive snap of week 2 through the rest of their season. That was never what their designs were. But to trade for this is why I think the Jack Conklin move to not bring Jack back is one of the more egregious moves of the Titans personnel decision makers. Teams don't let quality offensive linemen go. Those guys are not out there on free agency. And if they are, they're like Roger Saffold at the end of his career, where maybe you get 2 or 3 good years out of it. But those guys rarely, once they get into their 30s, mid-30s, it's kind of a guessing game with how much longer physically they're going to last. Teams do not let good offensive linemen go get paid elsewhere. So free agency for tackles, and especially like end of training camp free agency, Dennis Daly, I've said this earlier in the season, and I think I thought people were going to come and find where I live. But honestly, they're probably thinking internally, oh my God, thank God we traded for Dennis Daly. Because LaRaven Clark is worse. And LaRaven Clark is currently Dennis Daly's backup. That is the quality of offensive line depth that's available to them right now. So, just out of curiosity, I would like to look at Dennis Daly's pass blocking situation. So he has played at this point. He has 429 pass blocking snaps. He has allowed pressures on 47, over 10% of his offensive pass blocking snaps. He has allowed 12 sacks in that time as a part of those 47 pressures. He has allowed 8 quarterback hits. He has allowed 27 hurries of the quarterbacks for the Tennessee Titans on those 429 pass blocking snaps. This is all according to Pro Football Focus, who tracks this stuff. So he is, by the metrics, Dennis Daly's highest graded game was against the Raiders, the Titans' first win of the season, where he graded out, I don't know how, I know how Pro Football Focus, I know the general way that Pro Football Focus comes up with their individual grades, but as far as grading out, Dennis Daly, his best game was week 3. 75.6 is the grade that he was given as a left tackle. He has not graded out above 60% since week 11 in Green Bay. And this most recent game, he was the worst offensive lineman that they had with a grade of 27.5. So it's become, and I got a question the other day about why don't you guys talk to Dennis Daly more? Why don't you interview Dennis Daly more? One, that dude runs out of locker room after games. Runs.
Can you blame him?
No, I would get the hell out of there. But so we're in there yesterday, right? And we get 45 minutes in the locker room. On a normal week, it's Wednesday through Friday. Today, on a Thursday night football game, it would be, I guess theoretically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but we didn't have Monday because it was, what was Monday? What's today? Today's Tuesday.
Day after Christmas.
Okay, so it would have just been Monday and Tuesday on a normal week anyway.
There you go.
So we get 45 minutes in the locker room, most weeks, 3 days a week. Dennis Daly, when he saw us walk into the locker room yesterday, walked out of the locker room. I can't follow him through the hallways of the facility without, getting clotheslined by Mike Vrabel or God knows who. But he does actively avoid speaking to people who are going to ask him questions. I have told you the question that I would like to ask him as diplomatically as human. I don't want to attack the guy. I'm not actively seeking to. But I would like to know, in his worldview, has he done a good enough job to keep his job? Because they already told you in L.A. that they were thinking about making a change. And then Radens tears his ACL, and you have no choice but to ride it out with Dennis. His situation is less tenable now than it was a week ago, because at least there was another option. I know Dennis Daly is a better football player than LaRaven Clark, but that's not saying much at this point. Let's go to Shannon up next. Hey, Shannon. Hello. Hey, Shannon.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hey, no, we're club level members, man, and me and my wife been there for probably 10 years, and the people around us have been there since the beginning, man. And it's just obvious from up there. And like I said, we're not coaches or play callers, but I was listening to Rex Ryan the other day and was talking about Todd Downing, and everybody hears it. I just want to know what y'all's thoughts are on him, and also on Lawan. Love Lawan, man. I think he's a great guy. I think he's good for their locker room. And, I know he's got a cap coming up, and this, I feel like he never got healthy from the first injury. I feel like he was rushed out there. Talked to some people in orthopedics, and injury like that takes a good year to heal from. Him practicing in and out of that, and then, injuring the knee again. And if it's possible to restructure his contract and keep him around, and who else would you get if you didn't have him right now? Just y'all's thoughts on that. Love the show. Love you guys, man. Just want to love the Titans. Hope we pull out a playoff, and the atmosphere is great there in that stadium, man. And then just see what y'all's thoughts are on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Shannon. We appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the vibes, morale is low, just generally. And it sounds like Shannon's getting the same experience in club that, whatever the case may be in the rest of the stadium. And to people's credit, it was a much better crowd than I thought it was going to be on Saturday. I was really surprised that many people showed up, especially after the hour delay with the rolling blackout situation. By the way, I hope that everybody's managed that well. I know that can be super scary. I was in here talking to Blaine when we came in here for pregame on Saturday morning. He said that somebody that his wife works with, I believe she's on some kind of breathing machine. And, if your power goes out, that whole situation, you're scrambling, trying to figure out what the hell happened. So long story short, I hope everybody's okay after that. But he brings up some comments made by Rex Ryan. Now, Rex Ryan is currently on ESPN's pregame show. Rex Ryan does not know Todd Downing's name, but he teed off on Todd Downing in ways that were, calling for his job. In fact, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let Rex do the talking because Shannon brings up this clip. I'm glad he did because I would have forgotten to get to it. Here's Rex Ryan on ESPN's pregame show Saturday.
So, Rex, you look at a Titans team with Malik Willis getting the start for the rest of the way, at least in the regular season. How are you feeling about these Titans?
Well, the Titans, they only have themselves to blame. And this thing, I've got to get this. I got to get it out there.
All
right. Is third down the most important down in football?
Yeah. Yes, it is, Rex.
It is, right?
Sure.
We all agree to that.
Yep. Yeah,
then why the heck is your best football player not on the field, Tennessee Titans? Why do you take Derrick Henry off the field? Oh, he doesn't know pass protection. Then don't pass the ball. This guy's by far and away your best player. Would we not just love to say, oh, Derrick Henry's on the bench. Good, they're going to throw the ball. It's going to be hilarious. Are you out of your mind? And Tennessee Titans, here's what you ought to do. Fire the offensive coordinator if one of these three things happen today. All right, number one, Derrick Henry should at least carry the ball 30 times today. 30 times. If he doesn't, fire the guy. Okay, and here's another one. If the quarterback, Malik Willis, who we've seen is a rookie quarterback. By the way, rookie quarterbacks are horrendous in this league. And this guy is even worse than that. If he throws the ball over 15 times today, fire the coordinator. And here's the last one. If Derrick Henry is not on the field on third down, fire the coordinator. I don't care. I don't know who you are, but all I know is you make the job easy for a defensive coach anytime Derrick Henry's not on the field. One thing I know for sure, all right? Lovie Smith and the defensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, they can't stop Derrick Henry. He's had over 200 yards the last 4 times against this team. So guess what? The only coordinator that can stop him is you, the offensive coordinator. Give Derrick Henry the ball. If you want to make the playoffs, give Derrick Henry the ball at least 30 times. Stop it. You don't have to outsmart people. Give Derrick Henry the football.
Merry Christmas.
Golly, man, he towed them up. Look, I know he likes to be the heel, but listen. He's honestly feet and ankles above everybody else at ESPN. That kind of breakdown, you just don't get that from anybody. You just throw the toe jam out.
No.
Get all the bad stuff out of here.
You're trying too hard. Feet and ankles as opposed to head and shoulders above everybody else?
Because he likes feet.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Robert literally got in my ears. That clip was playing and said, "I have feet jokes." I said, "Okay, bud. The floor is yours." That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Red Flashes Comedy Hour.
Boo! We got to get a new name. I was so mad when that spot kept playing. Nobody knows who the Red Flash is. I feel like you're talking about Florida State's old ball boy when you say that. No. Don't look at me like that. Don't you look at me like that. We don't even bear a resemblance other than the fact that we are both redheaded.
Spot the lie, though. On both. Robert's appearance in the Red Flash from Florida State or Rex Ryan talking about Todd Downing and the offensive situation here in Tennessee.
I ain't coming to work tomorrow.
I mean, Rex has been in a position to fire coordinators. And maybe Mike Vrabel feels like that at the end of the season. But right now, that guy doesn't have any answers. And all it does is keep bringing up more questions. Last call for phone calls. We will do the polls. We will wrap things up on this Tuesday. Get you over to Blaine and Mickey. I'm Buck Reising, 104.5 The Zone. So we'll wrap it up this way. Last call for phone calls. 615-737-1045 is how you join the conversation. By the way, you can hop on the line now. You can get in line early for Blaine and Mickey. Those guys fill up fast. 3HL after that. I think I saw Slay get engaged.
What?
Is that I think that's what I saw on
Where
Instagram.
Did you see that at?
On Instagram. Why are you acting
Instagram.
surprised? We talked about this.
Oh, I was playing it up. I'm not on Instagram like that.
Why would you? I'm literally doing a 3-hour radio show. I'm on Instagram like that.
Well, one, I'm not photogenic. I don't think I've posted a picture since everybody was posting those black squares.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the last thing I did on Instagram. But I don't know. It's just kind of like a Twitter for pics, and that's not my thing.
So I'm gonna confirm here, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that looks like a ring.
Marriage.
Yeah.
Good for them.
No doubt. Congratulations to Slay and his lovely fiance, now Chris. At least I think that's what I saw. I hope I didn't announce something on the air that was.
That's a side.
I feel like if it's on Instagram, if it's on your Instagram story, I feel like I'm in a safe space.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not, he's just gonna strangle you.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't even need. I saw him earlier. Wait, he was here earlier. Did he go home?
Yeah.
And propose and then come back?
What a stud! He had a busy day, man.
I guess.
Busy day.
John in Clarksville is next. Hey, John.
Hey, guys. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I heard y'all talking about all the injuries and things, and some talked about the weight room and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about it could be the turf at Nissan Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it has its moments, right? Like if it's been rainy and stuff like that, like you got dudes sliding around out there against the Jags. I mean, it happens everywhere, though, right? I don't think it's just specific to turf, right?
Well, all I'm saying is it's some of the worst turf there's ever been, and I have some knowledge of turf.
Okay.
And it's hard. God bless, it's hard. And that may be something that need to be looked at.
Well, they are currently in the process of evaluating surface options for a stadium in 2026. Thank you for the call, John.
Well,
615. Would you just fade him down?
I did.
The man's trying to get a word out.
You said thanks for the call. Thanks for the call is radio lingo for hit the bricks, buddy. Also, you should have tested his turf credentials.
What am I going to ask
Like,
him?
do you working on a golf course, buddy? You got a putting green in your backyard? What are your credentials? You say you're a turf expert. You're turf. So where do you get those credentials at?
Can you come to my house? My lawn is a mess right now.
I believe you have a little 4x4 lawn. How is your yard a mess?
I bought my home with the intention of having as little grass as humanly possible. I don't want to do yard work.
Yeah, okay.
How can I avoid yard work? But because I have opted, I just need to put rocks everywhere. Like I just need to completely rock it over.
It's not a rock garden.
Why not?
But because,
I was in LA a couple of weeks ago.
It looked HOA?
Hell no.
Okay. Oh, okay. Then you're good. Yeah. My HOA would rip me if I was like, you know what? Rock garden. Look at the front yard, baby. No weeds for me. Just rocks.
I'm pissed because I spent a bunch of money on sod. This past, I think it was at some point this summer.
It's looking like crabgrass.
Yeah, half of it is now crabgrass. So I don't know anything about lawn care or maintenance.
Obviously. I know that because you leave your weed eater outside in the elements.
Where else am I going to put it?
I don't know, in a shed or something? Well, you don't worry about that thing getting rained on?
No, it's fine. I just take the battery out.
It's You're the kids that left your toys outside, and I stole them when you had to go
I didn't.
in for
It's
lunch.
not like there's a little landing on my back porch. Like at least it's out of the elements. It's not like, but it's there. Yeah. If I need the weed whip, I just walk out the back door, pick it up, and go. Weed whip.
Oh,
what do you call it?
Whip.
Whip.
Why are you saying it like that?
Cool whip.
Why are you doing that with it?
I think you just caught me at a weird pronunciation time. It's like me trying to say music and then you cutting me off halfway through. Michael in Franklin is next. Hey, Michael. Oh, that's the wrong person. Now it's Michael. Yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
I just want to touch real quick on Derrick Henry and longevity. When I go back and I look, Derrick Henry 6'3", 247 pounds. I mean, obviously he's a human wrecking ball. But when I look at comparable contrast to similar type of backs, people like Marshall Faulk, Marshawn Lynch, Eddie George, all those guys capped out at that 10 to 11,000 rushing yard mark. And we got Henry that's in the 8,000. I mean, all these hits are going to compound over time. And he's going up against 8, 9 guys in the box with very little porosity within gaping holes to run through. I mean, where do we build this offense off of? Whether we bring in another quarterback, whether obviously we got to fix the offensive line issues, but I'm worried about, he may have 2, maybe 3 good years, but those hits are going to start compiling.
Thank you for the call, Michael.
Hit him with the music.
Okay. 60 seconds on the clock. 615. Why am I even giving out the number? I'm flustered. I'm pissed. Thank you for the call, Michael. Yeah, I mean, all I feel about this year with Derek is Derek's just going to be another year older. Like, he's going to be 29, I think, here in relatively short order. And I know how I feel at 29. I can't imagine how Derek feels at 29. I don't. It sounds like hell. But how you build it off of Derek moving forward, well, the answer this offseason is, do you? But we have time to get to that. Meantime, we got polls. Yes!
Oh, that's right. I got to say something.
Yeah, you got things to say.
Hey, you stay over there. Custom order any new Ford for the Two Rivers Ford, and they'll deliver it when it gets manufactured. Who are the winners of the sports weekend, Buck?
The winner of the sports weekend is Patrick Starr, who absolutely wrecked Russell Wilson on Nickelodeon's broadcast after he threw an interception. That was my winner. The loser is Nathaniel Hackett, who is now in the esteemed company of Urban Meyer, Bobby Petrino, and all other kinds of problematic guys, except Hackett just appears to be bad at his job.
He could not hack it.
Oh,
don't we all hate that?
The long play. Mickey Ryan levels of dad joke.
How would you evaluate Malik Willis's performance on Saturday? Puka says, QBs do become shell-shocked behind crap, especially when it's their first NFL experience. I've seen better quarterbacks than Willis get messed up. That's not wrong.
Yeah, I'd get him out of there as soon as humanly possible at this point. Blaine, just come in here, for God's sakes.
Can the Titans actually afford to lose to the Cowboys
Mickey
on
is
Thursday?
in here.
74% say, yes, they can afford to lose to the Cowboys. 25% say, no, they can't.
They can afford to lose to the Cowboys, but I will say to you that that as far as like losing this game and then trying to go to Jacksonville and fixing it all after theoretically 6 straight losses, yeah, I don't think that's feasible. I think they have to win this game.
What is the biggest red flag on the Titans roster? 17% agree with you and say it's quarterback. The other 82% say it is the rest of the roster.
82% is probably right.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with them.
Those the polls?
Yeah, you better believe it.
No, that is the show. We are done for the day. Blaine and Mickey up next, 615-737-1045. If you want to talk to the boys, because I'm sure they're going to have a lot to say about this particular outing as well. I'll talk to you tonight on Primetime if I don't catch you there. Radio show starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. See you guys.